On Sunday, June 20th, Carborough held its Fête de la Musique, an all-day music festival. Over at Brian's Guitars and Music, we heard that electronics guru Glenn Wyllie was working on some new ideas, so we stopped by to talk with him about his custom handmade effects pedals. Hey Glenn, how you doing, man?
Hi, how are you, man?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right. Well, obviously we're here to talk to Glenn about his effects pedals, but obviously you've got a lot of history going on here. How did you get started playing guitar and getting into preparing effects and the pedals you're making now?
Well, the effects started with the Rolling Stones on Ed Sullivan with the Satisfaction sound, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it got me, it grabbed me, you know, like that sound, that fuzz sound. So I found somebody that had one, and inside the cover of the machine was a schematic. And from that schematic, I made my own. And I actually started selling those things back in the 60s as clones of the Maestro fuzz tone.
Wow, so you've been doing it yourself for nigh on 30 years or so, huh?
Mm.
All right. So now you've got some effects pedals here, and before we go any further, what do you mean by an effects pedal exactly?
Well, it adds a color or a tone or some sort of, does some little trick, you know, with audio and relating to your ears and whatnot. You know?
So what are these two that you've got here called?
Okay, this is the fuzz mite, which is a circuit that I actually sort of invented. It's kind of like a mixture of like everything that's in transistor technology up from when it started, like in the 40s up to now, and it's something that I noodled with and tweaked until the point where like I got it to where it sounded like the way I wanted it to, and it's got a real good fuzzy sound like it's got a couple of different sounds there. It does
That's cool.
A few different things.
Yeah, it's got some teeth on it. So there's a lot of different distortion boxes out there. What makes your fuzz mite stand out from the crowd, do you think?
Well, it's different, first of all. There's nothing else out there that's exactly like this, and you're not going to find anything that's exactly like this. It runs a little bit different from everything else, and it makes a unique sound.
Yeah, well, you can hear that just by listening to what you've been playing.
I have this Ozo too, which is like an octave box.
Oh, very tasty.
Yeah, it's it when you don't have the fuzz attached to it, it's more subtle.
It's very cool. It's sort of like a Middle Eastern psychedelic thing going on.
Yeah. If you play a bunch of notes together, it's really strange.
There's a lot of tone freaks out there. Can you recommend any novel uses for your pedals that people normally wouldn't do, like.
Oh yeah, you can take like a fuzz mite and put it into your video camera, and then hook your microphone, like a dynamic microphone, into this, and like put parabolic reflectors on it, and you can tape somebody talking like from blocks away.
Yeah, I heard that CIA did that in Moscow. Right?
And probably Lev Terman, the guy that did the theremin thing, he probably had a few of those around.
So are you serious? You can pick up people talking blocks away?
Yeah.
There you have it. Not only is it a guitar effects pedal, but it's also a clandestine surveillance unit. I mean, what more could you want from an effects pedal that, you know, by today's standards is relatively cheap?
Right. It does everything, you know, except, you know, whips cream or...
Talked with Hendrix a while ago, as legend has it.
Last week.
Last week, yeah. So we also do seances back here. Is that parabolic reflector on the... What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, oh, Hendrix back in the 60s. And I met him. I kept running into him in New York City. It was just, weren't exactly traveling around with the same company or anything, but I don't know, you get people out there with long hair, you tend to see them
And notice them.
Yeah, talk to them and stuff.
Cool.
That's what was happening back then.
And I bet you if you'd had the Fuzz Mite or the X-Fuzz back then, he would have been digging it.
He would have been digging it. I would have given him all the Fuzz Mites he wanted, for sure.